Updated September 2018. Here's main, Part 1a, Part 1b, Part 2, Part 3. Watch Kit's whiteboard videos. Kit's video. Did you know, Freemasons have their own version of the Bible? Just do a search, you'll find it. They're all covered in filthy germs, aren't they, Smithers? Freemasons run the country. The Simpsons, video Freemasonry in television, read more. Congratulations to Rod Class for his win at the Supreme Court. Updates, my private audio. Do you have a private right to travel in your car? How about, do you have a private right to use cannabis? The Omen. He'll not allow the child to be born. He will kill it while it slumbers in the womb. The Omen, 1976. The Omen concerns a young child replaced at birth by American Ambassador Robert Thorne unbeknownst to his wife, after their own son was murdered at the hospital, enabling the son of Satan to grow up with wealth and power. They are surrounded by mysterious and ominous deaths, unaware that the child is the Antichrist. Here. They name the child Damien. Then, Robert is appointed U.S. Ambassador to the United Kingdom. Condoleezza Rice with 666 at United Nations. Sobek was worshipped in the Old Kingdom, but his prominence really grew in the time of the Middle Kingdom. It was during this time that he was often fused with the falcon-headed god of royalty, Horus. Sobek rescued the 4 sons of Horus by gathering them into a net from the waters where they had emerged from the bloom of a lotus flower. He was adopted into the divine triad of Horus, which also included Isis and Osiris, the parents of Horus. Read more. Their association with Horus the Elder specifically goes back to the Old Kingdom when they were said not only to be his children but also his souls. As the king, or pharaoh was seen as a manifestation of, or especially protected by, Horus, these parts of the deceased pharaoh, referred to as the Osiris, were seen as parts of Horus, or rather, his children. Read here. The authority granted to an agent under a durable power of attorney ceases at the time of the principal's death. Many people mistakenly assume that a power of attorney authorizes them to act as executor of the decedent's estate. After the principal dies, the agent under a power of attorney has no authority to act. Instead, the person named as executor in the deceased person's will or appointed by the probate court as personal representative is authorized to administer the decedent's estate. Read more, Pennyborn. A child can inherit from and through both adopting parents and genetic parents, but the genetic parent outside of the adopting family cannot inherit from or through the child. The rationale for this is that if the genetic parent agrees to the adoption by a step-parent or relative of the other spouse, he agrees to give up his rights as a parent. However, because in most cases the adopted child has not reached the age of majority, the child cannot legally give up her rights, so she can continue to inherit from or through the genetic parent outside of the adopting family. This matter, here. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to come back from the dead. Edwina Cutwater. Perhaps these constitutional/IRS characters and archetypes are founded on biblical and mythological themes? The decedent equals Abel? The grantor equals disable equals Cain, a marked man? Exiled? As in, the Rolling Stones' exile on Main Street? Rahu and Ketu denote the 2 points of intersection of the paths of the sun and the moon as they move around the celestial sphere. Read more. Queens, kings, princes and princesses, here. 18 recommendations for minimizing inheritance conflict, here. The beneficiary must survive at least beyond the original decedent's date of death. If she does not, her share of the estate stays with the original decedent's estate. Read here. Courts and legislatures unwittingly have destroyed the law by developing doctrine for the convenience of those in power without regard to the fundamental integrity of the corporate enterprise. Read here. Look, lady. Just because my grandfather didn't rape the environment and exploit the workers doesn't make me a peasant. And it's not that he didn't want to rape the environment and exploit the workers, I'm sure he did. It's just that as a barber, he didn't have that much opportunity. All of me, 1984, here. The ambassador's main duty is to present U.S. policies to the government of the United Kingdom and people and to report British policies and views to the federal government of the United States. Kind of like a double agent? There's a man who leads a life of danger. To everyone he meets, he stays a stranger. They've given you a number, they've taken away your name. Secret Agent Man, Johnny Rivers, video. Before Matt Damon there was The Bourne Identity, 1988. Beware of pretty faces that you find, a pretty face can hide an evil mind. And be careful what you say. You might give yourself away. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing, therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Deuteronomy 30:19. Jude Law as Jerome Morrow in Gattaca, 1997, by Andrew Nichol. An individual, the principal, appoints another individual, the agent, to make decisions on the principal's behalf relating to medical, financial and property decisions, typically upon the principal becoming incapacitated and unable to act for himself. Estate planning terminology, here. An appointment letter is a legally binding document that confirms that an organization has offered a position to an employee and they have accepted the terms and agreement in exchange for a salary. A letter of administration is a legal document that allows the court to appoint a personal representative to manage a decedent's estate. There are typically only two situations where a letter of administration is actually necessary. 1. The decedent died in state, meaning that they either didn't write a will or their will was declared invalid. 2. The personal representative named in the will is unwilling or unable to manage the estate. If, for example, the named personal representative falls ill, they may not be able to complete their duties. They also may be unable to handle the estate due to the time commitment required. Because the first personal representative doesn't always work out, many people name an alternate in their will, but if an alternate is not named, the court will need to appoint an administrator. Read more. All Vincent Freeman ever wanted to do was travel in space, to leave the Earth in a rocket, and catch a little closer glimpse of the stars. Unfortunately, he's had something of a handicap ever since birth, ever since conception. He is not genetically enhanced. Oh, his parents meant well when they opted to not give him his best chance by ensuring his genes made him strong and healthy and handsome, but in a society full of genetically enhanced, valid humans, exceptional is the new normal. Matt Damon as janitor in Good Will Hunting, 1997. And exceptional people are not just born. Vincent's parents realize this, when seconds after he is born, a DNA test results in a long list of defects he has, or will very likely have, including heart failure, and a mere 30-year life expectancy. Their next child is enhanced, valid, and as they grow up, Anton quickly surpasses Vincent in everything. The only job the genetic discriminating world will give Vincent is that of a janitor, but he refuses to accept his fate. He buys and assumes the identity of a swimming star, Jerome Morrow, who has practically perfect genetics, but was paralyzed in an accident. Armed with this identity, all it takes is a DNA test for Jerome to be accepted into Gattaca, and start training for a mission into space. And as if living the life of a different person isn't hard enough, just a week before Jerome is scheduled to finally leave the Earth, successful, his mission director is found murdered, and the main suspect is an invalid named Vincent Freeman. How to watch a movie, here. The film Good Will Hunting, 1997, if you remember, starred Matt Damon also as a troubled janitor. Also, the spectrum of Riemannium, here. Check out these cool ripple tank experiments. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast. Revelation 13:3. The Omen quotes, video. At the last second before Robert can't bring himself to stab Damien, the diplomatic protection group arrive and shoot and kill Robert. After his death, Robert is buried together with Kate in Washington D.C. The Omen, 2006, here. Keith and Robert travel to Rome to investigate Damien's birth. Rome, Maryland? In merry time? A fire destroyed the hospital records and the maternity and nursery wards 5 years earlier. Most of the staff on duty died in the fire. Robert and Keith trace Father Spilato to St. Benedict's Abbey. Spilato writes the name of an ancient Etruscan cemetery in Cerveteri, where Damien's biological mother is buried. Robert and Keith find a jackal carcass in the grave, and in the child's grave next to it, a child's skeleton with a shattered skull. These are Damien's unnatural mother and the remains of the Thorns' own child, murdered at birth so that Damien could take his place. Keith reiterates Father Brennan's belief that Damien is the Antichrist, whose coming is being supported by a conspiracy of Satanists. Read here. The Pope demonstrates the sign of the Freemasonic hidden hand. They behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is. Revelation 17:8. The immense wealth of the Jesuits has been bequeathed to them by wills made at the last hour. Deplorable Jesuit secrets revealed, here, video. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught, Revelation 18:17. Lucifer's Temple from Ardollery, video. Denver Solid Waste Management is only authorized to provide services to residential homes of 7 or fewer units in our own municipal facilities. City and County of Denver Public Works. Pet Goat 2 begins with a goat trapped inside a box in a concentration camp. The goat sports a barcode with 666 on its forehead. On the box, there's a picture of a man leading a barking dog on a leash. Later, there's an image of a Messiah figure riding in a boat, which appears to be the one mentioned in dozens of prophecies and predictions. He was known to people as Rigdon Japo, Osiris, Tehotep, Quetzalcoatl, Ahuram Mazda, Gabriel, Jibrail. Contemporary mankind mistakes this Antichrist figure with the biblical comforter, the Holy Spirit. Because a vision softly creeping, left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains, the sound of silence. What an amazing musical duo, songwriter, Paul Simon. Find more, here. Jesuit Pope displays the hidden hand. Have you noticed? Some patterns just seem to fit together like a hand in glove? Like the Freemasonic hidden hand in the jacket breast lapel? The Pope has warned, the devil is a real man. Hidden symbolism, featured activist Texie Mars. Landing on the Moon, 1966, video. Are you receiving? Turn the thrusters on. We're standing by. There's no reply. 4, 3, 2, 1, Earth below us drifting, falling. Floating weightless. Calling home, Peter Schilling, video, error in the system. Who owns your body? John Stossel wants to know. Watch videos, 1, 2. Before continuing to Kit's work, read these helpful articles at Freedom River. What is a birth certificate? Here, chart. Who is our evil twin? Article. Like a paper doll cut from a piece of paper matches perfectly the left behind hole when the two are reunited. Like the shading pattern of the male quintuplet pyramid formation and the play of sunlight with the lay of the wheat stalks. Two patterns often seem by design to be related, like a lock and key. The addition of mirror numbers 432 and 234 and their total, 666. 444, triplets and the creation, great dreams. An oral will, which is also called a nuncupative or deathbed will, is a will that is spoken to witnesses, but not written. Such wills are valid only in a few states and only in very limited and unusual circumstances. The idea is that if someone suddenly becomes ill or in extreme danger, and can't make a written will, his or her last wishes will be honored. Read more. Before there was I, Pet Goat 2, there was Puff the Magic Dragon, 1978, a 30-minute animated television film based on the song of the same name by Peter, Paul, and Mary. Could the band name be a biblical reference? Speaking of Osiris, Horus, and Isis mythology, check out one of my favorite shows, Fringe, 2008 to 2012. And they worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? Revelation 13:4. The film begins with Puff's narration about a little boy. Puff comes to Jackie Draper's bedroom window. Puff spies himself in the mirror and invites himself in. He talks to Jackie about inner happiness, and pulls a long sheet of paper out of a magic bag. He cuts the paper into a paper doll shaped like Jackie and dubs it Jackie Paper. Read more. Check out what the dragon says at timecode equals 329, Jackie Draper, this is Jackie Paper. The song first appears in Doolittle's residence, when the doctor fully realizes from his parrot, Polly, that intelligently communicating with animals is an acquirable skill. Talk to the animals, here. Louise Banks, Amy, is shown with her daughter, however, it is not the past. Those are her visions of her own future. Read more. Arrival, 2016, this is Barry. Also, there's a new season of The X-Files. Watch the trailer. Is the CSM really Fox Mulder's father? Read more. Rules, standards, sentencing and the nature of law, here. Measuring, monitoring, and managing legal complexity, here. I'm going to have to make myself smaller to fit. No trouble, just magic. Puff the Magic Dragon, 1978. H5397 Neshama, a puff, comes from H5395, Nasham, to blow away, destroy. Does the dragon, who exists in one state have sex with little Jackie Draper, who exists in another state? Does commerce mean sexual intercourse? Perhaps this act of knowing in the biblical sense might be called by the U.S. Code, interstate commerce? Knowing your brother? Is one who knows his brother in the biblical sense a homo sapien? Check out the Hospitals and Physicians Handbook on Birth Registration and Fetal Death Reporting, here. Interpretation of real property descriptions, here. Does it remind you of something? Like maybe the sons of God coming in unto the daughters of men. General 6:1-8. What is a man of the cloth? A remnant is, an unsold or unused end of piece goods. Read here. And this know, that if the goodman of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Luke 12:39 Buy the truth, and sell it not. Proverbs 23:23. Have you heard Senator John McCain address his comments to my fellow prisoners? Video. Are we like the heliophantic goat, trapped inside the six-sided folded-up box? Are we trapped in the left brain prison spoken of by featured activist David Icke? Also, you've heard the saying, it's not what you know but who you know? How about, knowledge of good and evil? How about, know the truth, and the truth shall make you free? Where did we hear that? Oh yeah. John 8:32. What is a Lorentz transformation? Video. Interstate commerce refers to the purchase, sale, or exchange of commodities, transportation of people, money, or goods, and navigation of waters between different states. Interstate commerce is regulated by the federal government as authorized under Article I of the U.S. Constitution. Did you know, human being is not found in the King James Authorized Version? However, you will find this phrase defined by the Corporation DBA the USA, 1 U.S. Code 8, person, human being, child, and individual as including born alive infant, here. I Think I Love You was a song made popular in 1970, sung by David Cassidy and the Partridge Family. I'm afraid I'm not sure of a love there is no cure for. Watch the original performance, video. It was featured in the film, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, 1994. Perfection, toy boat from Kurt Kallenbach. Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee, Job 40:15. A group of college friends reunite for a trip to the forest, but encounter a menacing presence in the woods that's stalking them. The Ritual, 2017. Is the beast equals man of sin equals a who man? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Isn't that the answer to life, the universe, and everything? 42. Listen at 50:16 in this presentation by Pastor Stephen Anderson, video. He uses the term / phrase, human being. Is Pastor Anderson talking about the entity that God made? Or what the US Code made? It's confusing, right? Here's a presentation from September 2012 featured activist, Pastor Mike Hoggard The Hidden Man, the New Man, Christ Formed in You, video. You the Great 3x3 low shoe square and dance steps. And the beast that was, and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. Revelation 17:1. The spiritual man judgeth of all things and he himself is judged by no man 1 Cor 2:15. Unless he invent like Manichaeus 2 beginnings, which is false and judged by us heretical, according to the testimony of Moses, it is not in the beginnings but in the beginning that God created heaven and earth. It is absolutely necessary for salvation that every human creature be subject to the Roman pontiff. Unam Sanctum 1302. Who is this mythological / historical character aka the lame one? Hephaestus? You the Great? Jake Sully? Listen at 1:45 minutes, Michael Daniels explains that You the Great was lame. The Magic, Myth and Math of Magic Squares, video. In Greek mythology, Hephaestus was the son of Zeus and Hera. In another version, he was Hera's parthenogenous child, rejected by his mother because of his deformity and thrown off Mount Olympus and down to earth. Greek 1078, Gamma Nu Epsilon Sigma Iota, manner of birth, production, generation, coming into being. According to the KJV, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. 2 Corinth 5:17. All things are become new. So, what do you think? Should we accept Jesus' payment at the cross, be born again? Or, since we are lame / disabled, apparently, maybe just get the upgrade, video or UPGRAYEDD? Is Cain the opposite of Abel, disabled? Like the characters played by Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman in Rain Man, 1988? Is the man of sin equals the beast equals the man that abandons, donates, volunteers, forfeits his salvation in Christ to the public? Does he donate via the birth certificate registration, to the U.S. corporation? All we are told about Adam's offspring is that the first son was named Cain, the second son named Abel Genesis 4:1-2, then after Abel's murder, another son named Seth was begotten when Adam was 130 years old. Read more. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path, that biteth the horse heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. General 49:17. In this classic song, Rocky Raccoon, Rocky collapses in the corner. Is the song talking about puddles of DNA left on the hospital floor? Is Lil short for the demoness Lilith? She has a man, Dan, as in the tribe of Dan? You never give me your money, you only give me your funny paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all good children go to heaven. Abbey Road, video. 3, 6, 9, the truth takes time, the monkey chewed tobacco on the streetcar line. The line broke, the monkey got choked, and we all went to heaven in a little rowboat. Flatliners, 1990, also here. Disabled Jake Sully arrives at Hell's Gate, Avatar, 2009, the position was supposed to be filled by his identical, presumably more able twin brother, Tom Sully. In the year 2154, a former U.S. Marine paralyzed from the waist down due to wounds sustained in combat, is selected to participate in the Avatar program. Originally, the position was supposed to be filled by his identical twin brother Tom Sully, who was recently killed by a man who attempted to rob him of his money. Read more. In the film Eagle Eye, 2008, Jerry Shaw, Shia LaBeouf, is a Stanford University dropout who learns his identical twin brother Ethan, an officer in the U.S. Air Force, has been killed. Following the funeral, Jerry is surprised to find $751,000 in his bank account. Later he finds his Chicago apartment filled with weapons, ammonium nitrate, classified documents, and forged passports. He receives a phone call from a woman, Julianne Moore, who warns that the FBI is about to arrest him and he needs to run. Read more. H5397 Neshama, a puff, comes from H5395, Nasham, to blow away, destroy. Ezra 2:13 Ezra 8:13 The 7:18 The children of Adanikam equals 660 and 6, 666. Now the weight of gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 636 talents of gold. 1 Kings 10:1. Barack Obama says, yes we can. Or, is it, thank you Satan. Watch this video. Find more, Stormy's YouTube. Read more, The Open Scroll. Check out Tracy Twyman's MP3, also, article on black masking. Check this, list of black masked messages. Devil, future, is lived, past, spelled backwards, evil is live spelled backwards. Equity requires its members to have unique professional names, read here. Iniquity versus equity? Have the fallen angels arrived? Watch this video. By the way, check out After the Tribulation by 2012 featured filmmaker Paul Wittenberger and Pastor Steven Anderson, video. The owners of this country know the truth, it's called the American Dream, 'cause ya gotta be asleep, to believe it. Life is worth losing, 2005. Read more, Kurt, also, Kurt. Last I heard, Kurt agrees with me, the governing classes have created a golem, a voodoo doll. I heard him use that phrase exactly. Check out these mashups, Voodoo Dolls of the Elite, Part 1, Part 2, Part 3. In the near future, people are immortal because the aging gene has been deactivated. To avoid overpopulation, time has become the currency. The rich can live forever, and the rest have to negotiate for their immortality. When a young man comes into a fortune of time, he ends up on the run from a corrupt force known as timekeepers. In Time, 2011, video. Time is of the essence to get your living trust made with Jesus. Confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Predestination, 2014, characters. Sewage is the collection of discharge from domestic, medical, commercial, and industrial establishments as well as rainwater. Guide for discharging industrial wastewater to the sewer, here. Born female, the customer grew up as Jane in an orphanage. As an adult she applied for a program called Space Corp. Read the script. Speaking of mutant monsters, what do Robert Englund, Radha Mitchell, and Sam Worthington have in common? It's here. After reverse engineering the Terminator's remains, Cyberdyne reverse engineers its CPU and creates a powerful new microprocessor for weapons systems. A Series 800 Terminator, which is sent from the future and designed to kill humans, is crushed in one of the hydraulic presses in Cyberdyne's factory. Thus, the company obtains the machine's wreckage. Terminator Wiki. Comes with a limited edition metal T-800 endoskeleton arm that brings you one step closer to building your own Terminator. Read more. Space Corp, Cyberdyne. Rocketdyne. NASA mooned America by shill stoppers, video. To the moon, Alice. When you moon someone, you pull down your pants and show them your seat of government. Your posterior face. Didn't God show Moses his seat side in Exodus 33:23? Apollo landing radar 1968 propaganda, video. The Space Shuttle narrated by William Shatner, video. Sailing on the wind in a milk-white gown dropping circle stones on a sundial playing hide and seek with the ghosts of dawn waiting for a smile from a sun child, Moon Child by King Crimson, video. And for my joy, I'll give you a boy with a moon and star on his head. Cat Stevens. Graven Images, Deadpool, Deadstock. The Walking Dead. The Biblical Potter's Field? New York is unique among American cities in the way it disposes of the dead it considers unclaimed, interment on a lonely island, off limits to the public, by a crew of inmates. Buried by the score in wide, deep pits, the Hart Island dead seem to vanish and so does any explanation for how they came to be there. Unearthing the secrets of New York's mass graves, New York Times. Fire on the Mountain. Run, boys, run. The Devil's in the House of the Rising Sun. The Charlie Daniels Band. Check out May 2012 featured musician Charlie Daniels and his film, Behold a Pale Horse. Moonshine. The lunatic, the moon child, shines under the light of the moon. All rise. The powers generally understood to belong to the Attorney General at common law have been summarized as follows. And in certain cases, by information in Chancery, for the protection of the rights of lunatics, and others, who are under the protection of the Crown. History of the Illinois Attorney General, here. When you believe in things that you don't understand, then you suffer. Superstition by Stevie Wonder. By the way, check these out, History of Hemp, Sovereign Immunity. Seed by Rob Skiba. This paper argues that at least one of the following propositions is true. 1. The human species is very likely to go extinct before reaching a post-human stage. 2. Any post-human civilization is extremely unlikely to run a significant number of simulations of their evolutionary history, or variations thereof. 3. We are almost certainly living in a computer simulation. It follows that the belief that there is a significant chance that we will one day become post-humans who run ancestor simulations is false, unless we are currently living in a simulation. A number of other consequences of this result are also discussed. The simulation argument, Nick Bostrom. A group of online gamers are invited to try a state-of-the-art virtual reality video game, but things take a turn for the sinister when these masters of the shoot 'em up discover they will literally be fighting for their lives. The Call Up, 2016. Infomatic Films, meet your strawman. So, what is a strawman? It's a fictitious legal entity, created with the hope that as a child created by the sperm and egg, the real living being, grows up, he will be fooled into believing that he is actually the strawman, which he most definitely is not, and pay all sorts of imaginary costs and liabilities which get attached to the strawman by con artists. Learn more, Infomatic Films. Conscience. Con and science. She blinded me with science, sings Thomas Dolby. Might we call the Prince of the Power of the Air a Con Air? Con Air? I like Nicolas Cage films, generally. Here's more. Face/Off, 1997, is a good film. Also, Self/Less, 2015. What is the Air Commerce Act of 1926? The high contracting parties recognize that every power has complete and exclusive sovereignty over the airspace above its territory. Convention relating to the regulation of aerial navigation signed at Paris, October 13, 1919. Regulation of air navigation, here, up, and away. In the classic Wizard of Oz film, Dorothy flies through the air with the greatest of ease. After being knocked in the head by debris, she passes out on her bed. The Fifth Dimension sing about the beautiful balloon, video. Time. It catches up with us all. Even those in our line of work. I guess you could say we're gifted. God, Jesus, it sounds arrogant saying that out loud. All right. I'll put it a better way. I guess you could say we were born into this job. Predestination, 2014, script, quotes. Cause you were bred for humanity and sold to society, skating away, Jethro Tull. Well, do you ever get the feeling that the story's too damn real and in the present tense? Or that everybody's on the stage, and it seems like you're the only person sitting in the audience? Read more. Nevertheless, what saith the scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free. Galatians 4:27-31. Sam Neill enjoying the show, John Carpenter's, In the Mouth of Madness. Air rights are the property interest in the space above the Earth's surface. Generally speaking, owning or renting land or a building includes the right to use and develop the space above the land without interference by others. This legal concept is encoded in the Latin phrase quius est solum, eius est usque ad soelum et ad inferos, for whoever owns the soil, it is theirs up to heaven and down to hell, which appears in medieval Roman law. Read here. I used to sing this song quite a bit back in my open mic days. He was born in the summer of his 27th year, coming home to a place he'd never been before. Rocky Mountain High by John Denver, lyrics. Watch the live performance, video. It's an official state song for Colorado. John Denver, Rocky Mountain High. It was featured in the film franchise Final Destination and based on an unproduced spec script by Jeffrey Reddick, originally written for The X-Files and was distributed by New Line Cinema. All 5 films center around a small group of people who escape impending death when one individual, the protagonist of each film, has a sudden premonition and warns them that they will all die in a terrible mass casualty accident. Right before each one dies, this song plays, sometimes in the background, and sometimes diegetically. A freak accident brings together a critically ill mathematician, a grieving mother, and a born-again ex-con. 21 grams, 2003, director, Alejandro G. Inarritu, as Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, writer, Guillermo Arriaga. Read more. Watch this trailer. Scene from 21 grams directed by Alejandro G. Inarritu, 2003. Your sperm's in the gutter, your love's in the sink. Thick as a brick, Jethro Tull. Widows of soldiers killed in war can conceive children through artificial insemination using their dead husband's sperm. The process of creating after-death children can occur in 2 contexts. Scenario 1, prior to going to war, the man has his sperm extracted and placed in a sperm bank. If the man does not return from the war, his wife or girlfriend uses his stored sperm to create his child. Scenario 2, the man is killed in the war. His wife or girlfriend has the doctor harvest sperm from his dead body. Then, she uses that sperm to conceive his child. Either scenario results in the existence of an after-death child that needs financial support. Read here. Also read about dead men reproducing, here. A woman who lives in a darkened old house with her 2 photosensitive children becomes convinced that her family home is haunted. The Others, 2001, by Alejandro Amenabar. Post-mortem sperm retrieval was first reported in 1980 by Rothman, in a case involving a 30-year-old man who became brain dead following a motor vehicle accident and whose family requested sperm preservation. What are the ethics of post-mortem sperm retrieval? Read here. What happens to a dead man's sperm? Read here. It's the Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Luke 12:34, Matt 6:21. Legally, an abandoned heart murder, also referred to as abandoned and malignant heart murder or depraved heart murder, is a homicide that was committed not with intent to kill, but with a reckless disregard for human life. Additional confusion is engendered by the possibility that an abandoned heart might simply refer to a heart that has been abandoned. There are several songs that bemoan an abandoned heart, especially in country western music. In this sense, the heart is envisioned as the locus of love, as the term sweetheart attests. Despite appearances, an ensuing homicide would not necessarily be an abandoned heart murder. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity, but hath power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, doth well. 1 Corinthians 7:37. So, what is abandoned heart murder? Read here. Bloody harvest, organ harvesting of Falun Gong practitioners in China. It is generally accepted that China kills prisoners for organs. Bloody Harvest sets out the investigations and conclusions of the authors. Read about this book, also press for truth, watch this video. Also, Dan Dix. From John Pounder with author and researcher, Rob Skiba, here's an informative, thought-provoking video. Rob explains, it seems very plausible to me, when an angel mates with a woman, they became huge, mingling is taking place, but it's not happening through copulation. Really? Do you think new technologies can be used to combine DNA/information from living people to create monster hybrids in laboratories? Aren't we being indicted already by information in today's courts? Statues are ruled by statutes. Statue alpha plus t tau/omega? The ancient cultures worshipped gods of wood and stone. It is difficult to comprehend the insanity of paganism. Who can tally the blood that has been spilled on the altars of the gods who are not and the demons who are? Is chance the master architect? What is the link to the Chancery Court? Is life merely a game of chance? Fate? Destiny? Check out In the Beginning Was Information, Werner Gitt. Can so much beauty and elegance we see all around us in the flowers, birds, mountains, the ocean, arrive by accident? Read more, Chuck Missler. By the way, what is the name of Dr. Frankenstein's monster? It's a trick question. Frank Capra filmography includes the classics, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and Meet John Doe. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form, as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. In Congress, July 4, 1776, a declaration by the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled. Philadelphia, John Dunlap, July 4, 1776. All governments must maintain power through consent, not coercion. Barack Obama. Check out this blurb. In addition to complying with the requirements of certainty and statutory formality, in order to create a valid trust there is a third requirement, that the trust must be completely constituted. This requirement concerns the vest of the trust property in the trustees. A trust is completely constituted when the trust property is vested in one or more of the trustees for the benefit of the beneficiaries. Constitution of a trust, here. The common law is the will of mankind issuing from the life of the people. DOJ recently scrapped the old Bush-era Stars and Stripes website banner in favor of a more somber look, prompting lots of online conservative angst about the Obama administration's lack of patriotism. But it wasn't just the flag replacement that has conservatives a Twitter. It's the quote that now graces the top of the page, which says, "The common law is the will of mankind issuing from the life of the people." Read more, Mother Jones. After all, this is the only logical way to fund government, by floating liens and debt to the registrants in the form of benefits and privileges. This will inevitably reap to us huge profits beyond our wildest expectations and leave every American a contributor to this fraud. Without realizing it, every American will insure us for any loss we may incur, and in this manner, every American will unknowingly be our servant, however begrudgingly. The people will become helpless and without any hope for their redemption, and we will employ the high office of the president of our dummy corporation to foment this plot against America. Attributed to Colonel Edward Mandell House. Here's another article. This plan explained at Freedom River. Do you consent? Check out the non-voting option at Strike the Root. Seriously, how can anyone be fully informed and presumed to consent when we don't speak the same language as these machines? If a person makes a qualified disclaimer with respect to any interest in property, this subtitle shall apply with respect to such interest as if the interest had never been transferred to such person. 26 U.S. Code 2518. I mean, what? And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance, and understanding dark sentences, shall stand up. Daniel 8:23. The President is the chief executive officer of this corporation called the United States of America. Congressman Allen West. Who is Allen West? Learn more, agenda31.org and usavsus.info. Are the several states of the Union foreign to the U.S.? At the outset, there was a great deal of disagreement as to whether the United States was a unitary entity composed of subordinate states or a unified compact of sovereign states. Dave Fields. Paxton played Master Sergeant Farrell in the futuristic sci-fi/action thriller Edge of Tomorrow, a film that combines the military versus extraterrestrials theme of aliens with the main narrative device featured in Groundhog Day. Paxton offers comic relief in a highly tense situation, this time by talking down to Major William Cage, Tom Cruise, a cowardly public affairs officer demoted to private in the midst of an alien invasion. Tribute to Bill Paxton, a legend of sci-fi cinema, here. Check out this scene from the film, Edge of Tomorrow, 2014. Cage, your name's Farrell? Master Sergeant Farrell, that's right. Master Sergeant Farrell. Cage, Master Sergeant Farrell, you're an American. Master Sergeant Farrell, no, sir. I'm from Kentucky. Farrell equals Farrell? Why exactly would Farrell say that? He's from Science Hill, Kentucky, in the U.S. His uniform has the U.S. flag on his shoulders. It seems odd he would deny being American, normally a point of pride for jarheads like him. Read more. No sir, I'm from Kentucky. Rip Bill Paxton. Who should we trust with our life, liberty, and property? In God we trust? Here's more on the topic of trusts. Wealth Management by Guernsey, excerpts. For a trust to be valid, there must be a certainty of words, a certainty of subject matter, and a certainty of objects. 1. Certainty of words or intention. The settlor must have shown to have intended to create a trust before the court will hold that one has been created. No particular form of words is needed, and it is not even necessary to use the word trust. Similarly, there is no actual requirement for the trust to be in writing, but it would be a brave trustee not to have at least some evidence of his appointment. 2. Certainty of subject matter. There are two aspects to this requirement. 1. There must be certainty as to what property is to be held upon trust, and 2. There must be certainty as to the extent of the beneficial interest of each beneficiary. 3. Certainty of objects. It is essential that the beneficiaries under a trust should be clearly defined, or that a formula exists which enables the trustees to ascertain them. If a trustee makes a distribution to non-objects, then they may be held personally liable to replace the assets. There are different tests for certainty of objects in fixed and discretionary trusts. This article continues. Article. Also, check out Mr. Wynne, I believe this is your signature, Part 1 and Part 2. Here's more from Kurt Ree, the Born Identity and Birth Certificate characters. Curtis says, they took your property and put it into the public, that's the thing you do not want. We are being possessed by our grip. The statutes, the codes, whatever they write, only belongs to that character they create. Well, based on my research, there's a Salem's lot of characters. Probably 12 to 13 of them, which we encounter on our hero's journey. To paraphrase Ian Anderson, we ride ourselves over the fields, and we make all our animal deals, but we can all rest in our assurance that our wise men don't know how it feels to be thick as a brick. Woo! There's a lot to learn about protecting our God-given unalienable rights, which are, allegedly, also constitutionally protected. All of us at Musicians for Freedom look forward to helping you express yourself boldly and creatively. Submit your films, music, screenplays, etc. to our film festivals. This article is continued. Here's Maine, Part 1A, Part 1B, Part 2, Part 3. Share this.